What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scoreboard for Monday, July 5th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Sundblad, here to walk you through all the sporting news you need to know about for Eagle County. And we've got a great show in store for you this evening. We're going to be walking you through a really fun event that's going on for the next 2 Tuesdays at the Eagle Whitewater Park, thanks to Eagle Outside and the town of Eagle. Some exciting stuff going on there on Tuesday evenings. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at some brand new terrain opening in Beaver Creek this winter. They just broke ground on it a few days ago, and we were there live to cover the groundbreaking ceremony. And finally, we're going to kick it up to our friends in Park City from Park City Television, part of Scoreboard Nation, who interviewed an Olympic athlete. That's right, an Olympic athlete is going to be on the scoreboard this evening. I cannot wait to show you his amazing interview. We can learn all about Nathan Crumpton. But first, we're going to take a short commercial break and come back with a look at the Eagle Whitewater races. Welcome back, friends, to the Scoreboard. Let's take a look at the town of Eagle. Head on down the highway west, just about 20 minutes from where we're located in the town of Avon, where we were attending the Eagle Whitewater races. Now, if you didn't know, the town of Eagle built a whitewater park. That's right, a whitewater park, man-made, along the Eagle River. And they've got 4 different rapid sections, and every Tuesday night for the next 2 weeks, they're holding whitewater races. These races involve kayakers, they involve stand-up paddle boards, they involve surfing, well, sitting on your belly and paddle surfing, and they also involve some really rad kayak freestyle over the rapids, and it's just a great all-around time. They've got churros, they've got bonfire beer. It's just a wonderful celebration. There were dogs abound everywhere. It's a great time. Well, let's take a look at these races, give you an idea of the fun waiting for you at the town of Eagle every Tuesday night. So let's start things off with some kayaking. Now, first they did kayak time trials, and the race was set up where you drop down a rapid, then you had to make a hard turn, go around a buoy, and then catch that rapid again. That was key for speed, was catching that rapid. Look at that drop. That was super fun to watch these guys. And this guy's just grinding around the buoy. So it started with time trials for kayaking, then it moved on to time trials for stand-up paddleboarding. And those rapids were always giving the racers trouble, but some of them really got the key to getting around this buoy. And it was all about moving from a traditional stance into a surf stance. That's what I noticed was giving people the most speed. But there you go, a perfect look at having to cut back into the rapid to really gain up some speed. And here's local hero Ken Hovey really trying out that surf stance. Going for it. Look at him lean back on that, try to grind in that fin and pull that quick 180. Didn't quite get it as smoothly as he'd like to this time, but it was still a great effort by Ken Hovey. He actually competed in both stand-up paddle and in kayaking, and this was one of my favorite sections here. It was paddle surf races. So these guys were on surf shortboards, so about 5 foot to 6 foot long surfboards, and it was a paddle race. And they didn't do any time trials beforehand. It just started off as a paddle race, and it became quickly chaotic. So first contestant took out a nice lead, and then he was really the only one to get some peace around the buoy. Then it just became a battle for getting around that buoy. There was collisions. We just lost the surfboard there. A couple more coming through that rapids, and it's so hard to keep a shortboard from really trying to take a duck into the water as you're coming down that rapids. You've really got to pull the board up to gain some buoyancy on it. And like I said, churros, dogs, people, oh my gosh, what a good time in Eagle. And just want to note here, the race registration starts at 4:30 for the next 2 Tuesdays. Races start at 5:30 for the safety meeting, and then 5:35 is when things really get kicked off. Now we're going to move on to the actual race segment. So they utilize the time trials to then determine who would drop first, second, third, etc. And obviously dropping first was a big advantage as they hit a collision as that first guy comes around the buoy, and then That kayak got pushed so far off the buoy, he's got to fight against the current to get back to it. Oh man, what a trial. What a trial on the arms. These guys were flexing after the race, no doubt. But eventually they would all catch that rapid and just start grinding the paddles to get out there in first and win this kayak race. But it was less of a race as it was just a good time with friends and family and homies and just hanging out, eating churros, drinking some bonfire beer if you're of age. All contestants were awarded a free bonfire beer just for entering, so that's enough for me to want to enter. And actually, you don't need to own a kayak or a paddleboard to do this. You can just kind of show up, and they've got kayaks and stand-up paddleboards and rafts if you want to do a two-person raft race provided by Timberline Tours down in Eagle here. So make sure to head down there the next 2 Tuesdays at 4:30. And we're going to get back into some stand-up paddleboarding here. This guy, he's got it down. He's got that surf stance down, that quick 180 turn down, but oh no. Now there's activity. Oh, don't run into each other. All right, taking a nice wide berth, no bumping into the stand-up paddles. Good moves, good moves. Good little grind through the rapid. There you go, doggy. There you go. Grind it out. There you go. And big battle around that second drop and that second buoy. The first buoy didn't really create troubles, but I like to hang out at the second buoy. That's where I saw the most collisions. And here we go. We're going to watch Ken Hovey with the stand-up paddleboard skills again, show you just how tricky it can be to drop down that rapid. So he's in a nice surf stance. He thinks he's in good shape. Make the drop. Everything's good. Up. Things were not good, but they quickly recover. Then I noticed some fair equestrian friends gazing at this event from across the river, just hanging out, eating some grass, watching the kayakers battle it out. It was the final race of the kayak segment here. These guys just had a good time. Everybody got out of the river, high fives all around, cracked that bonfire beer until everything was cut short because of the rain, and that was a good sign to see here in Eagle County. We've certainly needed the rain. It didn't dampen the spirits, but it tried to dampen my camera, so I had to run underneath a tent here as the surfing competitors started to go. But this was really cool. So these guys, like I said, they're on 5 to 6 foot short boards, just trying to catch this wave. A lot of them were going from regular to fakie, making a quick 180 jump, but pretty much everybody got doused. There was lots of splashing in the water, but you can't beat the good time and the good smiles. So for the next 2 Tuesdays, make your way on down to the town of Eagle. Check out the Whitewater Park there, maybe compete, or maybe just bring your dog and hang out. Registration starts at 4:30. The event kicks off at 5:30. A good time will be had by all. Hopefully no rain next week. I can get some interviews with the athletes, get their thoughts just on the overall course. But I tell you what, that was certainly a blast to attend. From rad surfing in the town of Eagle to brand new lifts in Beaver Creek.
Get out of here, get out of here. I'm going to talk about Beaver Creek because Beaver Creek's my home mountain. Sorry, Eric, stealing the spotlight here because you got to do all the fun stuff and be up there. And so I'm going to talk about how excited we are that McCoy Park is expanding and Beaver Creek is getting more terrain. It's going to be more beginner friendly, which is always great for the family, especially because Beaver Creek wants to be a family-friendly, completely resort, and Beaver Creek is my home mountain, so this is where I absolutely love to spend my time. My hype level for the expansion, through the roof. Eric's going to give us a closer look now.
With 250 acres of new beginner to intermediate terrain, McCoy Park is sure to make a stamp on Beaver Creek Mountain, and I'm happy to be here with Nadia Guerrero at the groundbreaking ceremony. Nadia, thank you so much for welcoming us here. Beautiful day today.
Thank you so much. It is a beautiful day, and we're just thrilled to be getting this project underway. We're so excited.
Yeah, it sounds like it was quite a bit of work working with the Forest Service on the environmental aspect side.
Certainly, it's been years in the making. Projects like this don't happen overnight, and so my predecessors, there's been a lot of people that have been working really hard with the Forest Service, with our planning department, to get all the pieces and parts in place for this.
So this is the third of your kind of signature progression parks. Where does this one fit into the overall vision of skier progression?
This one is the third, so it joins Hay Meadow Park and Red Buffalo Park. And so our beginner skiers and riders will start in Hay Meadow Park with our smart terrain at the base area. They can move up to Red Buffalo Park, which is at the top of the mountain, so vistas for days. and then they would move over here to McCoy Park, which is a tranquil bowl setting where they can really connect with themselves, with nature, with each other, and really create those unforgettable moments.
I remember, so I started skiing at 2, and one of my most prominent memories is getting to a bowl and freaking out. Just at not only fear, but excitement, because it's just so intimidating looking down an open face. As I gaze out over McCoy Park here, you know, you're kind of greeted by trees at first, and then it opens up into it, but it will all be groomed.
It is. It's 17 new trails, and it's natural groomable glades. So we'll keep a lot of the tree elements, and it will feel like similar to a backcountry experience in a beautiful bowl with not much infrastructure in sight, and it will be a very unique experience, especially for beginner and intermediate skiers and riders, which, like you said, you don't get the opportunity to have this kind of experience at most resort settings.
Yeah. So Beaver Creek Mountain now, you've got 3 signature parks. You've also got kind of the bald spot if you're really expert and can do hiking terrain. You've got wonderful ski racing. You've got great moguls. You've got wonderful trees. What else is missing for Beaver Creek here? Is this now like the ultimate?
We've got it all. Don't forget Grouse Mountain and the steeps over there. I think there's really something for everyone here, and that progression and taking people from beginner to expert, that can happen here, and
Yeah.
it's a really neat experience.
Yeah. So another thing on my mind, so it's not often that we get new trails and new lifts here.
Right.
Who names it? Who goes into the naming of the trails? Is this like a marketing meeting, a dartboard,
Yeah,
a
you want the
drawing, a
secret-
contest?
You
What?
want the secret sauce, huh?
Yeah.
You want to know how it happens. It was a long process, and we did involve our employees, both on site here, guest experience innovation team, as well as marketing teams. There was a lot of people who had input, and you know, a lot of people who signed off on the names, and that is a process actually
Yeah.
that I don't think I will ever forget, is being part of the naming of trails and of the chairlifts, right? So we
Yeah.
have McCoy Park Express, and then we have Reunion, which is the egress lift that takes you out of here. So very neat experience, and I think some really unique names and special names that signify what this experience is all about.
Do you have any favorite that you like really gravitated towards?
I like Tranquility, and I think that's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, it kind of gives you the perfect example of what coming back here feels like.
Right. It's peaceful. You're in nature. That it's going to be. There's not a lot of cross traffic that happens here because it's a destination spot for those skiers and riders that are going to be out here. So it's going to be welcoming and just a unique experience like none other.
And when is the exact opening day expected for McCoy Park?
We'll be ready for the opening of the 2021-22 season, but it is going to be natural snow back here, so we're thinking probably mid-December sometime is when we'll be able to open it up back here.
All right, perfect. I look forward to taking some runs with you, Nadia. It should be awesome back here.
Thanks so much, and thanks for being here. It's really great to have you.
Absolutely. Congratulations on opening McCoy Park, and stick around for more, The Scoreboard. With any new opening of lifts or terrain, it always takes a partnership with the U.S. Forest Service. I'm happy to be here with Leanne Veldhuis. Leanne, tell me a little bit about what this partnership entailed.
For sure. So, you know, with any kind of groundbreaking or new project in a ski area, because the bulk of our ski areas are on national forest land, which involves working with the Forest Service.
Yeah.
We always do an environmental analysis, and so that includes looking at all of the different resource areas that might be impacted by a project. Because it's not just recreation up here, you know, it's we have to check for potential historic or archaeological sites, because you never know what may exist across the district. Wildlife habitat, you know, hydrology issues or concerns, wetlands, whatever you might have kind of anywhere on a forest, it exists within the ski area permit boundary, and so we make sure that, you know, the project is within, you know, an appropriate kind of level of ground disturbance, or perhaps in some cases maybe mitigating for you know, some of the ground disturbance essentially that happens when you want to put in a new chairlift and that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can imagine from a wildlife perspective, having that new equipment out there could push them away from maybe a natural ground, or does that not necessarily disturb them?
Well, with McCoy Park specifically, you know, the time frame during which construction could take place, we're here on July 1st for a reason, and that's because this area was under an elk wildlife closure until just yesterday. And so we make sure to account for any species of concern that might be in a project area, whether here or elsewhere on the forest, with all of our projects.
Yeah, well, I mean, the more humans expand, the more we impact their life. So anything we can do to kind of give them their terrain back is of the utmost importance to continuing our life up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like it was a smooth process, though. Beaver Creek did a great job kind of doing the assessments and working with you guys to ensure minimal impact.
They've really knowledgeable people on their staff, and like Nadia said, literally decades worth of experience up here. I think it's a testament to, either Beaver Creek or maybe Vail Resorts, but folks come here and spend a career working for the resort. So, really appreciated the expertise and, kind of knowledge of their staff. And then also, I think my Forest Service folks are pretty great
you guys do a heck
as
of a
well.
job
Really outstanding staff on my end as well. So, between the two of our two organizations, I think we've got to a good place today with this project.
Excellent, Leanne. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad it was such a rousing success, and I can't wait to get some turns in on this new terrain.
Me too. Yeah, looking forward to winter.
Yeah. Make sure to come check out McCoy Park starting this December. Boy, that McCoy Park new terrain in Beaver Creek sure looks incredible. If you haven't experienced a wide open face, a wide open bowl, it really is something that's quite breathtaking when you lose the trees and just can see straight down the aspect. It's usually pretty intimidating. Like I said, when I was a kid, it certainly put my gut up into my chest of, oh boy. But Beaver Creek's going to do a great job with it. It's going to be groomed terrain, it's going to be fun, and I bet there's going to be some great little tree stashes in there to get your slash on if you're an up-and-coming snowboarder. But thanks to Maddie for giving us a little intro to that segment. Thanks to Nadia Guerrero from Beaver Creek, and especially thanks to Leanne from the Forest Service for chatting with me. And now, finally, let's kick it over to Park City. Big shout out to Ryan Kostecka, Conrad Jacobellis, part of the Park City Scoreboard Nation team, for getting this interview with track and field Olympian Nathan Crumpton.
Hey Scoreboard Nation, I'm Ryan Kostecka. Standing next to me, Nathan Crumpton. Nathan, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for people who might not know the way you're dressed, you have a very, very big, let's call it meet, coming up in Tokyo here in a little while. Talk about that and just, what are the feelings? Are you excited? Are you nervous? How's it going?
I am pumped. I am excited. I am ecstatic. This is a dream come true. I will be running the 100 meters in Tokyo. I'll be representing American Samoa, and I've got about a week left here in Utah. I've got one race down in Cedar City. I'll be doing the Utah Summer Games. That's my last little tune-up, and then I'll be packing my bags and flying out towards Tokyo.
So before we kind of, dive more into the track and field background, obviously you have a very unique background. You were looking at, to compete in 2018, on the winter side of things for Team USA as a skeleton. What happened there? Talk about that. I know there were some injuries there.
Sure, there was a lot that happened there. So that's actually what brought me to Park City in the first place. This was all the way back in 2012. So I was competing with Team USA as a skeleton racer. This is only one of two places that you can train for skeleton in the United States, and so I made the move here. Qualified for 5 USA national teams, was on the World Cup team, was probably at the pinnacle of my career in 2016. I was the #1 US athlete, and I was ranked 8th in the world, and everything was looking really good going up into the Pyeongchang Games in 2018, and then I had an injury right before the start of that season. I herniated a disc in my back, and things just went completely sideways. Dreams were shattered. It was heartbreaking in so many ways, and I've competed one more year with Team USA, and then I ended up making the shift. I've got Polynesian heritage on my mom's side, and that allowed me to switch to American Samoa, and it's been a great opportunity. It's been wonderful to represent an area of the world that is not as frequently represented in the Winter Olympics, and then that presented the opportunity to switch back to my original sport, which is track and field. That's what I competed in college, and now I'm doing both sports. I'm juggling the two.
Okay, so that's my question. Yeah, so you obviously had a track and field background beforehand. In skeleton, obviously, the push start, there is a lot of explosiveness there. It is, probably 3 times farther, I'm assuming, the 100 meter. Talk about, what was it like getting back in the track and field? Was that hard, or did you still have, rely on that background?
It was a little tricky for sure, and the compressed timeline between the end of skeleton season and then training for Tokyo made it extra tricky as well too. So there is at least, I'd say, a 50% overlap in the training that I do because it's very quick twitch muscle dependent. And again, it's that essential push start in the beginning of a skeleton run, and it's about 30-35 meters. You're pushing that heavy sled, so you need that strength, you need the speed, and you need the explosiveness. The problem, as you mentioned, is going triple that distance and doing a full 100-meter dash. And that took a long time to get my body to buffer that lactic acid, and I'm still working on it, still working on my running technique. It's a lot different trying to run upright than it is when you're bent over. And so a lot of that tuning and that fine adjustments really taken the past couple months to get used to, but everything's feeling good. I felt solid in my qualifications, and hopefully things go well in Tokyo.
So what made you, choose American Samoa? I know, you said it's on your mom's side.
Yep.
Always, Polynesian background, very important to you, I assume. What made you kind of represent them and really kind of want to embrace that heritage?
Sure. So there were two options for me when I decided to leave Team USA, which was the absolute right decision for me at the time, given there were so many troubles going on with Team USA and with the bobsled and skeleton federation at the time that it was definitely a great opportunity for me to move on and to explore something new. And with that being said, I had the option of pursuing Kenya, which was where I was born, actually, or then the Heritage Connection, which was through American Samoa. So I actually went to both places, and I ended up going to Kenya, and they unfortunately weren't interested. Even though I have the Kenyan birth certificate, they were too busy with everything that they had going on. So next call was to American Samoa, and they said, welcome, we'll have you with open arms, and it's been great.
So one thing I really want to ask, moving forward now is, how has the training been going for you leading up to this? I mean, I know you were super close in 2018 to competing in the games. How is the training going right now, and how does it really differ, compared to skeleton?
The hardest part is just running more. It's just running longer distances, getting my body to go that triple distance or even longer in training. That's been probably the biggest shift, and with that has come weight loss too. I lost 5 pounds like that just at the end of skeleton season, and making that adjustment it was probably the toughest challenge. On top of that is just the wear and tear on the body. Usually at the end of skeleton season, I've got a few weeks, a month to take it easy, and that was not the case at all this season. It was just quick turnaround. The exact week after I finished skeleton, I started training for track and field.
How has your body respond? I mean, like you said, you didn't really have much of a break. So how long have you been training for track and field? But at the same time, how has the body responded for you?
It's been an uphill battle. I've had to have a lot of physio, a lot of dry needling, a lot of therapy just to keep my body in one piece. But thankfully, everything worked out. I qualified, and knock on wood, things are still going to go smoothly.
Well, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. We'll be following along. We'll be watching your journey, and I'm sure we'll talk to you when you get back.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
This is Ryan Costeca with Park City Television.
Well, that's been it for your scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me on this fine Monday evening, or whenever you're watching this, streaming it live on YouTube. Remember, go over to thescoreboardnation.com to see all of our episodes from both the Park City team and myself here in Eagle County. And we'll be back next Monday at 6 p.m. with another episode of The Scoreboard.